Today is March 4th, and Pest Duggar is supposed to be making an appearance in court today, and I'll explain why. As you may or may not know, Pest Duggar, as I call him, is currently serving time in federal prison for having CSAM. And since then, he's been trying to overturn his conviction. And in June of 2024, one of his last attempts was at the Supreme Court, and they rejected his appeal. He does technically have one last chance to overturn his conviction by proving that his constitutional rights were violated during his trial. Now, I have to give a huge shout out to Reddit, especially to Megalodon481, and the Digging Up the Duggars podcast for explaining this way better than I can. Josh had a year from the time that the Supreme Court said, no, we don't want to hear your case, to appeal. And before that, in May, he requested a lawyer, a public defender. He claimed he had no money whatsoever, and the court said no. So that was in May, and he had a month before his deadline to try to appeal. And Pest, representing himself, filed those motions, and they were filed in July 29th. Now, you might be thinking, wait, you said he had a month, which would make it June. It's like taxes. As long as it's stamped the day that it's due, it's fine. He basically said in those motions, like, hey, I didn't do it. It could have been that guy, but the courts didn't want to hear that guy, and there was this kind of evidence. And Bobby Holt's testimony was kind of weak because she took money from Shiny Happy People, which, by the way, did not come out until after Josh was sentenced to prison. And then the prosecution basically said, wait a second, Josh. We think you're lying about when you sent those papers, because the court claims that there was no visible postmark, no indication that a pre-page postage was included, and no evidence that the envelope ever passed through the U.S. postal system. Basically saying that Josh pretty much lied about when he sent his paperwork in, which is what this court is all about today. It's basically saying if Josh lied about when he sent his paperwork in. And it would be so fucking funny if they found out he lied, because that means he'd probably get in even more trouble. I don't know if that would expand his prison sentence or not. I'm crossing my fingers it is. And you know how I told you that he's basically his own defender now? Well, that changed overnight. Josh has a new lawyer, apparently. His name is Bo Brindley. And if you follow a lot of high-profile true crime, you may recognize the lawyer's name, because he is R. Kelly's lawyer. Another scummy man who's sitting in prison right now. And now his lawyer is requesting more time. So we may or may not get court today, but we'll see. Of course, a scummy man picks a scummy lawyer. Also, I saw this picture on Reddit yesterday, and I'm sorry, Anna, if you're hoping for that pardon from Trump, because they're very proud that the Homeland Security has arrested your husband, so there's that. Well, we'll see what happens today. I will keep you updated, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.